what happens to a man when there's nowhere he can just simply be? No place where he doesn't have to prove or perform or protect. No place where the world stops demanding of him, and he's allowed to just exist. Now, we talk a lot about safe spaces, but let's be frank, almost none of them are built for men, especially men who carry pain. Men who've lost things, who've walked through hell and learned to come out quiet on the other side. So what happens when men have no safe place? Let me tell you what I've seen and experienced. When a man has no place just to let down his armor, he doesn't become more open. He becomes more closed off, more shut down, more isolated, and often more numb. And sometimes, too often, harder on himself than anyone else ever was. Most of the time, he doesn't explode. He just kind of fades out. You've seen it. The light just dulls behind his eyes. The laughter thins or is too loud. He stops reaching out and stops asking for anything. Because in our society, every time he did, it cost him something. Respect, reputation. Sometimes it cost him his job. All too often, it cost him access to his children. So eventually, he stops trying. Most people don't see it happening because we men are trained to suffer silently, to man up, to stay composed, to keep functioning. But make no mistake, a man without a safe place is not okay. Now, he may smile, and he continues to get things done. He may even seem quite successful, but inside he's holding himself together with an effort. Not because he's weak, but because he learned it was safer that way. Just carry it alone. And this is how it happens. It starts small. He stops talking about what's really going on, certainly what's going on for him. He kind of shrugs things off, and he tells himself, "Oh, I'm just tired." Then he withdraws a little more, spends more time alone, shares fewer truths. Eventually, he stops expecting to be understood at all. Because when he tried, his pain was minimized or redirected, or worse, turned against him. And when he showed vulnerability, he was labeled unstable or broken or a threat. Now, a man without a safe place learns to live kind of behind a glass wall. He sees life happening, but doesn't feel part of it. He smiles for the photo, but the joy isn't there. He works hard, but he feels empty. He loves people, but they don't really know him. Not the man he was, and not the man he is today, and certainly not the man he could be in their life if anyone had ever made room. So what happens when men have no safe place? Well, they survive, of course, but they stop feeling alive. Now, I know this pattern because I lived it, and I've watched it hollow out good men, strong men, who carried too much for too long. Veterans, divorced fathers, men who were falsely accused, the whole Me Too movement, men who lost everything in court, men whose trauma was never named, not even by themselves. Men who did the right thing over and over and over and paid for it. No, they didn't break all at once. They just kind of slowly disappeared inside themselves. And the world barely noticed, because men are supposed to need help, right? But here's the truth. Even the strongest man can't carry complete isolation forever. When a man is told he has no place to speak, no permission to struggle, no room to hurt, he doesn't become empowered. He becomes disconnected from others and separated, and eventually disconnected from himself. When men have no safe place, they don't just lose connection, they lose clarity. They forget what it feels like to be known, to be seen without judgment, to be held in dignity, not examined like a problem. And those things, they're dangerous. Mostly they are dangerous to us men, because the man who has nowhere to speak his truth eventually forgets that he even has one. You want to know why so many men choose silence? It's not because they don't want help. It's because they tried. They opened up to partners and were mocked, or it was weaponized. They opened up to professionals, and because less than 5% of mental health workers are educated in how to deal with men, or really care to, those men were made to feel shamed or reduced. They opened up to systems, and, well, we know the results of that. They were punished. And so now they stay quiet, and the world calls it toxic masculinity, as if surviving betrayal is a moral failure. Let me say this plainly. A man with no safe place is not dangerous. He is in danger of disappearing, of giving up, of believing his worth only exists if he never needs anything real. That isn't strength, it's a survival strategy, and it's costing men their lives. But here's the good news. That internal prison, it doesn't have to be permanent. All it takes is one real place, one space where a man can speak without ridicule, where pain isn't punished, where dignity is protected. Even one place like that can begin to change everything. Maybe you're that man, holding it together on the outside, exhausted on the inside, tired of the weight, tired of the silence, and absolutely tired of pretending. So let me say this clearly. You don't have to carry it alone. Places for men like us do exist. They're rare, but they're real. For example, Men Are Good with Tom Golden, or XY Crew with Paul Elam. Those are but two. And if you haven't found yours yet, don't give up, because one of the most powerful things a man can experience is being seen with dignity by someone who understands what it's like to be invisible. You were never meant to be silent forever, never meant to carry everything without rest, never meant to become a machine. You're a man, and you deserve at least one place where that is honored. When men have no safe place, they just fade away and disappear. And when they find one, they begin to come back to life. Still standing, still here, and still not alone.